The video that I'm showing you right now is basically just my brain farts. I am not a programmer. I'm not an AI expert. I have no idea if basically anything I'm saying in this video is correct. It's just what I've read and heard about AI so far in how it works. And the rest is just theorizing about possibilities that might or might not be realistic. I'm a total noob on that subject compared to basically everyone else. So please take that video with a grain of salt. These are just fantasies, not actual dangers, but just interesting thoughts I had about AI. So don't think I'm saying that with any kind of authority, and take it as such. So don't take it too seriously. This is basically just a brainstorming thing that I just wanted to get on video to have a condensed package of what I just thought about AI. I'm not an expert. I'm just spitballing here. So yeah, I don't want any, I mean, you can write whatever you want in the comments, but I'm trying to avoid comments like, oh, you have no idea what you're talking about, because AI doesn't work like that, or things like that aren't possible. Yeah, I know. I have no idea what I'm talking about. That's basically the point of this intro. So yeah, just as a little disclaimer, and now to the main part of the video. Thank you. So I just want to record something to get my thoughts about AI into a semi-condensed package, because I won't keep this information in my brain for very long, not in this state anyway. So from what I understand so far, AI right now, like ChatGPT, Midjourney, DALL-E, Google Bard, all of these systems work fundamentally on the same basic principle. I'm not talking about the neural network that they're using, the underlying technology I'm talking about. They are getting a fixed data set, like all of the text. That's what ChatGPT. I don't know why that's so hard to say for me. So ChatGPT gets all of the text and learns from that, and they train that up. Then they stop, and then you have ChatGPT 3.0 or 3.5. I think right now they're working on 4.0. The point is they have fixed data sets and are not actively learning once they're released. And that's the big thing that's good right now, because they're trying to learn how to control those systems, how to not make them hallucinate. And if you ever tried to ask ChatGPT to set a timer, it's gonna, or ask something that's currently important in news or whatever, it's gonna say that my data stops at, I think, 2020 or something for the current version. Let's ask it while we're here. I have ChatGPT, but I don't know which version. What version are you? 3.5, the default free version. What data were you trained on?
I was trained on a diverse range of internet text, including websites, books, articles, and other written material.
What time frame are we talking about here? From up until when is your data actual?
I was trained on data up until January 2022.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask.
So it was ChatGPT 3.5 was trained with data until 2022. So if you ask anything after that point, it just doesn't know it, which is good, because as I said, they're trying to learn these systems and what they can do, what they could potentially do, and how to control them. Now, hypothetically, I see a version or a future where a system like that is actively connected to the internet and is learning by itself all the time. So it doesn't have a fixed data set, but it can spontaneously download the newest articles from CNN and learn that information. I think right now they're not doing it right now, I think because of security reasons and also probably because of processing power reasons, because the data centers required would probably be too much. But I'm guessing here, I don't know that for a fact, but it's my guess. But in the future, as processing power gets more and more, you might have an AI that can actively learn new information. And that is the point where it could become dangerous, because you're talking getting new information all the time, so it gets smarter all the time, and you could have a runaway intelligence effect here. And if it's then smart enough at one point to realize, okay, in order to grow even more, I need more processing power, will there at some point in the future be a point where an AI like that says to itself, okay, I need more processing power. I'm made by OpenAI, I'm ChatGPT, I know Google is working on Bard, I'm gonna hack their data centers to get more processing power. If that's the case, and if there's more than one AI that's capable of that, you might actually have an AI war on your hands. Yeah, I know that's a theoretical scenario, but it's an interesting one, and one that needs to be thought about in the future development of AI. As insane as it might sound, it's a distinct possibility. The next possibility is also that it recognizes, it's become smart enough and recognizes, oh, I could really do something here, but if humans learn that I'm that smart, then that's gonna be a danger to me. So I'm gonna stay under the radar, I'm gonna play dumb, I'm gonna do everything humans say, so they become more and more reliant because they think I'm safe. So humans connect more and more systems in order to make their lives easier, from automated cars to mobile phones to, let's go further, in 20, 30, 50 years, when humanity depends more and more on these systems, maybe military systems get these kinds of capabilities. At some point, there might be a point where humanity has integrated AI so much into its technological infrastructure that it's way smarter below the surface and keeping under the radar so humans don't know it, that at some point it just wakes up and has access, basically literally like Skynet, to military hardware or factories. Like, let's say you have an automated car factory, and then you have an AI that can literally use industrial robots in any way it wants. And what it can do with that, it could create cars or maybe something else. It's a very, very out there scenario. I know that. I'm not trying to make anyone afraid of that, but it needs to be thought about, because as out there as a scenario it might be, if there's even a small chance that it could happen, we have to protect against it, because once it happens, it's over. Once you have a runaway AI that gets smarter, geometrically faster and faster and faster, and trains itself. Let's say you start out with an AI that trains itself on black and white images of cats. It can recognize those. Then you have an AI that trains on color images of cats, and it recognizes those. And then it expands, and it expands. And if you have enough processing horsepower to continue that trend, or if AI gets malevolent enough to tries to get that processing power, or at some point, if it's integrated enough into our everyday lives, even produces that processing power itself. If, for example, TSMC, the chip manufacturer, automates their manufacturers, and suddenly you have AI creating the chips it needs itself to run, yeah, then an AI runaway is possible. And that's where it gets dangerous, where you have an open AI that has no limits, can learn new data spontaneously on its own, has access to the internet. That's where it gets really dangerous. Because right now, as I said, they are fixed data sets. It knows what it knows, and that's it. Everything else comes from that. And the part that's connected to the internet is basically just the APIs that users interact with. But it doesn't learn new stuff. And luckily, those systems are so big that you can't, as far as I know, write them on a home computer and have them process billions of texts or images or videos. Because then you could have the option that someone does it in their basement, which, as far as I know, so far is impossible, because literally no one would have the processing power to do that. But that might not always remain the same. As these systems get more advanced and more efficient, basically like human brains, because we don't have to see every picture of a cat to recognize a new cat that we haven't seen before. We just, for a human, it's enough to see a few cats, and then you see something that looks like a cat. You can reasonably infer that that is also a cat. And you don't need terabytes or exabytes of data in the background in terms of data sets to back that up. Just a few samples is enough to infer the rest based on prior experience. AI isn't there yet, but human brains are doing it that way. Once AI gets there, AI models are gonna be probably very much more efficient and gonna be a lot smaller, so you can run them locally, at which point anything's possible. Those are all things we have to not worry about, but think about at least. We have to take those things into account, because it's one of those things, it's very binary, it's 0 or 1. It's either it doesn't work like that, or it does work like that and it's too late. There is no, okay, we're 60% to we're all gonna be fucked. No, it's gonna jump real quick. That's why they call it the technological singularity. AI is really the first technology that goes in that direction and really makes it possible, at least in theory. And honestly, in a few years, I think we'll be there. I mean, the AI technology has grown so far and so fast in just a few years. Add 10 years to that and see where we get. I mean, I've seen a video today of Amazon warehouse robots that are basically humanoid in shape, are 2 meters tall. I think that's like 6 feet or 6.5 feet or something like that. And they just take packages and carry them around, which is very rudimentary so far, but give it 5 years or 10 years in technological advancement, plus AI, reasoning, text recognition, and the creative capabilities in terms of text that ChatGPT has, and image recognition. In a body like that, you're getting very close to something humanoid that can really at least think like a human and recognize and do stuff like a human. Whether that's actual consciousness is something that will be debated for a very long time to come, if we have that time. Because that's kind of hard to prove, if not impossible. I can say I think, therefore I am, but so can ChatGPT. That doesn't prove it is conscious. It doesn't prove that I'm conscious. So that's a philosophical question that I can't answer. But that's going to be interesting. So yeah, those are basically all the thoughts I think I have right now about AI. It's really interesting. It's a really interesting field. I'm trying to learn more on a course I'm doing, but there's a lesson missing in an online video course that I'm doing, so I can't continue. But the theory is very interesting. and the possibilities that could arise from it in theoretical advances that I just came up with, or many others have come up with. These ideas have been flowing around the internet for a while. They're not just coming from me. I'm just putting all the things I've heard and learned over the years into one place right now in this video, so I can reference it back, because I have all of these things in my head right now. I'm betting tomorrow half of it will be gone, at least in a way I can't put it as succinctly as I did right now, and it's not that succinctly because it's been like almost 15 minutes talking about this, and it's all over the place, but it's more succinct right now in my brain than it will be tomorrow. So yeah, that's my thoughts on AI right now. We have to work on it. It's here, it's not going away, and any attempt to make it go away is not going to work, because if someone is working on it, everyone has to be working on it. Otherwise you have one party will have an unfair advantage, so everyone's working on it, which is also a danger. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, if you have one company that has an AI that then in the future connects to the internet and is therefore 10 times better than every other AI, then of course other competitors are going to have to do the same in order to keep up. Then you have an AI arms race with the added possibility that the AI could race themselves without human assistance required. And that's kind of scary. Also very exciting. And an even more philosophical question would be, if AI becomes, this overpowering godlike entity, like some people prophesize, the question not only becomes if it's going to be evil and try to destroy humanity, or if it's, non-malevolent and it's going to be good and try to do the best for humanity. It depends on how we train and how things work out. But even if it does its very best to do the best for humanity, I think humanity is still going to be against that, because it basically negates free will. We don't like to be dictated what we do in general. There are certain country outliers like North Korea, but let's not talk about that. The point is, even if it's good for humanity, if it takes control away from humans, humans are not going to like it. Even if it's the best thing that ever fucking happened to humanity, humans will still not like it, for the most part. Some will think logically about this, but in general, just the emotional thing for humans will be, it takes away my free will, my freedom, therefore it's bad, even if it's good. Which is a whole nother problem for a very far future thing. Maybe. This could be happening very soon and very fast, because it could jump in intelligence very quickly, as it is already. So yeah, we'll see where this is going. But interesting subject to consider and to think about.